former acting director of ICE, PJ Lechleitner. Sir, first, thanks for your time. But I wanted to first get your reaction. President Trump has been pretty critical of former President Biden's immigration policy. Obviously, a big showing today. We've seen video of the raids that have been going on. But I'm curious, your 30,000 down foot view of all this. I mean, what do you make of the criticism of work that you've carried out?
Well, sir, I would say, Alex, thanks for having me. And I just want to say I'm so proud of the men and women of ICE and the way they're handling this and able to pivot and, do everything they can to conduct these operations. With the support of DOJ now and DOD, it's a lot of extra support that's sorely needed. ICE had been chronically under-resourced, underfunded, under-supported in a lot of ways. And that's for years and years. So it's nice to see that that's coming. I hope that the money is going to follow some of the rhetoric, though, from Congress, because, like as stated in these prior segments, Guantanamo Bay, adding these extra detention beds, all these operations, all the removals that are in increasing frequency and amount, that comes at a cost. And, they're going to have to pull those resources from somewhere. And I hope that Congress steps up and does that. And, we advocated hard for that. We tried to get to even 50,000 beds, which would be nothing compared to what they're trying to do now. But, we're going to need that. We're going to need additional personnel, to ICE deportation officers to really go out and crack down on this. And I'm just really proud of what they've been doing so far. And every administration changes policy. This is a pretty big pivot for sure between administrations, and the ICE men and women are out there and they're doing it.
You mentioned that this comes at a cost, and I'm curious because now with the signing of this Lincoln Riley Act earlier today, how does that factor into if you want to call it the burden on the ICE infrastructure? I mean, will you need more agents now that the directive has been broadened? How do you see that playing out?
Yeah, Alex, there's no question we're going to need additional resources, money for the detention beds and the removals that will fall from that. The entire life cycle of the immigration portfolio. So you're going to need additional attorneys. You're going to need additional judges that go through all the various immigration system, and then CIS as well, and of course deportation officers, because we can't do this. This is going to be a massive increase in the required detention of individuals. So that's a big infrastructure need. In conjunction, that's going to be money, or it's going to be at DOD facilities, potentially like Guantanamo and now in the Denver Aurora area. So we're going to need support. This all comes down to resources. Give the men and women, give the people of ICE and DHS enough resources. It's good to see the executive orders, asking for support, directing support from DOJ, directing support from DOD, having the border czar that can oversee and overlay all of that. But we're going to need money. We're going to need resources, and that includes, that's the money, that's the infrastructure, that's people. And it takes a long time to get these people hired and up to speed. So, we got to manage expectations too. This doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah. Well, and also, PJ, you referenced this, but earlier today, the president signed that memorandum to basically expand the use of Guantanamo Bay for detention of migrants and other immigrant enforcement needs. I'm curious. In your experience, is there any precedent like this that the U.S. has used a former prison like Guantanamo to house migrants?
Well, Guantanamo Bay, we have a facility there currently. We do, and it's been used for the migration that comes out of the Caribbean, where we need to house individuals before they hit our shores. So we have used that previously. It's kept in a warm status, generally not always active. But to do this and to do it to the numbers that they're saying is going to be a massive lift. It's going to require a lot. But so yes, to answer your question, yeah, sure, we've done it before. But this is asking a lot more and requiring a lot more. And I hope that Congress steps up and assists the administration in doing this, because if not, they're not going to be able to do it with current resources. And there's no amount of reprogramming within DHS that's able to do that. That's a massive amount of money that's going to have to be new money coming from somewhere or taking it from somewhere. And I don't know what else they don't want to do where they can, take it from somewhere and give it to ICE or DHS.
Yeah. Well, and PJ, the other thing that, listen, we know this is playing out. There are certain cities around the country that have said that they're not going to comply with the Trump administration's efforts to deport people. I'm curious, on the ground, I mean, how does that impact ICE operations? How does that impact how the agency maneuvers? How does that play out?
Police agencies should always cooperate. It's unbelievable that we get into these situations where local and state police won't cooperate with federal authorities. And it's always specific to this immigration piece. But ultimately, it's just enforcing the laws on the books. So they don't, we can change the laws or not, but there are laws on the books under the INA. And what it does is when they don't cooperate with us, it makes our jobs very much harder. It makes it very much more dangerous for our personnel. We have to go out and fugitive operations teams and hunt these people down in areas where, the locals have the best. I was a local guy at one point. The local police have the best information, know the areas, and it's just safer having them involved. And if they're not going to participate, it's just more difficult. It costs more money. It's more dangerous. And ultimately, it's more dangerous to the community because now you have law enforcement operations going out where they could have maybe just handed them over to us. And it's just a lot more efficient and better for all involved if we cooperate.
All right, PJ Lechleitner, I appreciate your perspective today. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.